Join us at the Lexington Comic and Toy Convention, March 23rd through 26th. We'll be at booths 1113 and 1114, decked out in cosplay, selling the latest Angel of Death merch. Tickets are available via the link in the description. Hope to see you there. Hi everybody, welcome to the Composition of Imagination. I'm your host and author Stevie Jo, and these are my amazing book guardians, Tasha and Jason. And we have all month long so far, we have been celebrating the anniversary of the publication of Angel of Death, which was my debut novel, debut series, debut everything. And it has been so much fun. We've talked about the origin of Angel of Death, some character development. That was the last 2 weeks, so be sure you check those videos out too. This week, we are talking about locations.
So, location, heaven.
Mm-hmm.
What was your thinking of making heaven be? Because, like, everything in heaven, what was your thinking and vision for it?
Like, it's mainly how I envision heaven.
Right.
And it's when I think about Earth, and I'm like, well, if Earth was created by people in heaven, they surely, because, you know, biblically it says man was created in God's image.
Right.
So it only made sense to me that Earth was created in heaven's image, with the cities and the hierarchies of, like, politics, if you will. It's not like politics necessarily, but that kind of. So I was like, I want to make something that mirrors what we know.
Right.
Because it's this random, like, abstract idea that nobody knows what it is. And I thought, how cool would that be? You never hear anybody talk about heaven has different cities. No, it's just you walk through the pearly gates and there you are.
You go through the pearly gates and you're walking on clouds.
Yeah, and I mean, I have the clouds as like a kind of, but there's also, I mean, we're led to believe there's some kind of soil or something because flora grows there and, you know, all that. They've got like fountains and stuff like that. So I thought it would be really neat to take the concept of heaven to a whole other level.
Right.
And try to give you something tangible that if you were to go there, you're like, ooh, I can actually, in my mind, I can see this, like, city and this, you know, because it's like Utopia, Nirvana, they're all cities. So I thought giving the reader something tangible, and myself.
Now we've talked about it in the past about being, you know, how you set the story on the Earth realm in Eastern Kentucky. Did you have an idea of placing it somewhere else before you settled on doing aside from trying to force it to Lexington?
Right.
You know.
It always goes back to fucking like A Stitch in Time and For I Have Sinned and all that. Those were set in, I think one of them was set in Florida, and the other one was set, in Paris, in France, not Paris, Kentucky.
I was like, really? Just 20 miles?
Yeah, no. I didn't even know Kentucky had a Paris whenever I wrote those. So
that's where it came from.
It was. It was based in like Paris, France, and so I was like, well, I don't know what Paris, France looks like. And I know that authors sometimes will research the landscape and write about, let me tell you, I got a little lazy with it and was like, I don't feel like researching, so I'm about to write like something familiar. So that's why we talked about, I think you and I had talked about in a video a while ago, the history of Murr County, where I said it really resembles to me St. Cloud.
Yeah.
And so I kind of took a combination of St. Cloud and Lexington and like meshed them together and poof, you have Murr County. So I didn't have an original setting in mind. It was just, do I want to keep them where their origins were from, or do I want to change it? And I was like, nah, I better change it because I would probably feel more comfortable writing about that.
Yeah.
So.
Did you have any idea that you would probably, like, in a book down the line, actually have something happen where your characters were actually going to, let's say, they were going to Lexington or going to Louisville because of something that happened that would affect maybe a family member or something, that they can only go there?
I actually will be having Wesley in a future book come to Lexington.
Oh, good.
Because there is a detrimental thing that happens in Murr Lance, not Murr County as a whole, but Murr Lance. And the next closest place he can go to get help is Lexington. So I want to incorporate more of Kentucky in it, but I don't want to go too far outside.
You want to do it in a limited fashion.
Exactly.
That actually makes sense. Now, the interesting part is with your locations, you have, okay, we've got heaven, we've got earth realm, we've got hell. And yet, there is almost like a super highway that connects all three.
Yep.
Whether it's known or unknown.
Known to a limited few.
Why did, with everything getting split into the three realms, why did they keep a super highway?
It basically serves as a necessity, and that's why only a select few, there's actually 4 characters actively know about this. So, I'm sorry, 5. You don't meet the 5th one until book 6. 5 characters actually know about it for sure.
Okay.
Like, they have been aware of it for a long time, and it is to be used only in emergencies, and it's kept open because, let's just say, some people have a hard time letting go. That's why it's kept open. We will say it like that.
Out of all of the locations in your book, heaven, hell,
even like the cities and stuff, or just the realms?
No, with all the places in your book.
Oh,
Sky's house.
Nether Peak.
And why?
Well, aside from, as I've mentioned a lot, y'all are learning that I have a love for dark things. But aside from it being Lucian's home, it also feels, it's so weird to say, but it feels like home. When I write about it, it feels, that's not to say I think I'm going to hell or anything, but Nether Peak, for those of you who haven't read Veiled Commandments yet, is Lucian's home in hell. It is like, it's blocked off from everything else. And I just really like, I enjoy the solitude of it. So that would incline you to think Skylar's house.
Right.
Especially since she is my favorite character, but
Hers isn't as secluded as she is.
Exactly. And I like Nether Peak because there's so much comfort in the control over isolating yourself that way.
Right.
And sometimes homegirl just needs 5 minutes to herself to breathe. And that's kind of like where my brain goes sometimes. And in Nether Peak, you don't go in it yet, so you don't, you guys haven't heard this, and it's not anything big to say. In Nether Peak, Lucian actually has what he calls living portraits of the battles he's fought and the things he's done. And when you walk by them, like there's this one portrait that when you walk by it, if you stand long enough, you'll see the battle ensue and blood starts dripping down the frame.
Oh, nice.
And then whenever it's done with that part of the battle, everything resets and it'll go again. It's like it's like a short movie on repeat.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy that because he's not shying away from the bad that he's done.
Right.
He's accepting it and saying, this is who I am. I have the potential to be better than this, but don't fucking cross me.
Right.
And so I kind of like that almost home to me feeling of it, because I think everybody has a little bit of that darkness living in them. It's totally unavoidable. And it falls in line with the Bible for like original sin kind of thing. But it just feels like the place where you'd want to be to decompress.
So where's the one place? It could be a building, it could be anywhere. One place you do not want to be.
I think it would have to be probably James's house, because of just the pain that is oozing from those walls. Sylvia's constantly crying over her failed marriage, over her the horrors those children have probably seen growing up with having their dad be such a dick to their mother, is just, you would not want to. If those walls could talk, you would probably go deaf from hearing the pain of it. So that's the one place. Plus, James is such a dick, and I'm like, I don't feel like dealing with you. I don't want to come anywhere near you, especially given the history of before James. Yeah. It just resonates with this, oh my God, these people are awful kind of vibe. So I don't think I would want to be there at all.
Of the homes in Murr and Murr County, for that matter.
Okay, so both.
Right, yeah, so all of them. Which one, if you were to take and just literally pick up and move to a new location, which one would it be?
Probably Elias's house.
Really?
Yeah.
I figured it's just a little bit too Art Deco.
No, because I would want him up there to be safe and to be away from James and his influence, and it all comes back to the person who lives there. Plus, I do really like his house. I describe it in a very it's almost a very traditional homey feel, even though it has that plantation style look on the outside. Yeah. It's on the inside, he's got that very homey, it's a 3-bedroom,
it seemed like homey looking, but I thought it was a little Art Deco because he has more refined taste.
He does, and that comes with all his years of which I don't mind a little Art Deco and modernization and stuff. It's you can keep the quaint type house, but still have some modern touches to it. Plus, he's got a super cool basement. If you take the club out, he's got a super cool basement. Although I might still want to be part of the go in the club because I'm curious. I would be the curious human that's hey, if I drink from the fountain, can I go in?
Well, you could go. Yeah, you could go in, and that'd be the last time you're seen.
We don't know. But that does it for today's episode. I think that's a good topic to end on. So be sure you tune in tomorrow. We're going to talk more about the locations. And don't forget to come see us at LexCon, March 23rd through 26th. Subscribe to the Composition of Imagination so you don't miss any of this fun stuff. And we'll see you tomorrow. Catch up on the Angel of Death series today. The first 4 entries are now available directly at StevieJoAuthor.com.